Welcome back to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two friends do deep dive recaps of romance novels while going off on mostly related tangents, sharing opinions about life and love, and of course, giggling. This week, we've got our final guest episode for my maternity leave. Erin teams up with her friend from high school, Liz, to read And Playing the Role of Herself by K.E. Lane. Let's get into it.
I also have a mimosa here.
Ooh, a mimosa. I have a coffee that I microwaved from yesterday. I found that there are people that are very opposed to that and people that are very for the yesterday microwaving of coffee, but I'm a very for person.
I have to be against. This is my coffee here, so I've got everything I need.
You've got mimosas and coffee?
Yeah.
That's good.
They're being mixed in my stomach.
All right. Are you ready?
Good and ready.
All right. Hello, Liz.
Hey,
How's
Erin.
it going?
Going good.
Liz is our final guest host for Melody's maternity leave. And I've known Liz since 5th grade?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that right?
We met through our mutual friend Trisha. Because you and Trisha were in the same class, right?
Right. Yeah. I was very weird at Trisha, the quiet girl in class, for long enough that she agreed to be my friend. And then Liz was her friend.
Well, I think my first real memory of Erin is we were at Trisha's house playing house, as children do.
So fucking landmine. Why did I invite you here?
And I was the dog, because clearly...
No, why are you like this? Why did you do that?
And Erin was there was a beggar girl.
It was apparently, I don't remember this. Apparently it was a normal game of house where it was there was a mom and a dad and a dog. And I was I'll be a street urchin that comes to the door and needs soup.
Homeless person.
Listen, I was creative.
It's
and,
true.
I had read probably a lot of stories about beggar girls. And Liz and I were on the same Odyssey of the Mind team.
God, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I don't know why. And then in high school we did speech and school plays.
And I was thinking about this when we did school plays together. I feel even in speech when we did events together, except for maybe on one occasion, you always played my mom.
Yeah, that is accurate. Yeah.
It's
definitely
cool.
In the big school play that we were we finally got our due and finally starred in. I definitely played your mom. That sucked. And
well, you were an astronaut mom.
I played Krista McAuliffe in the play.
Remember that crazy wig? Erin had to wear this wig that was like a Slash wig. She looked like Slash from Guns N' Roses Children.
The best part of that wig was that we kind of, for the first time in our entire friendship, we were kind of quiet and polite about it. We were hey, Mrs. Drama teacher, we've noticed that the wig is terrible and maybe it'll ruin the whole play. And was it her husband? Was it the guy she was dating that was always kind of around and sitting in the back of the room and stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
He was guest directing that play or something like that.
Oh,
and he was
right.
Hey, listen, in the real world of theater in New York City, it's you will find that there will be somebody sitting in the back of the room watching you at rehearsal, and then the next day they'll be replacing you. And you know why? Because of stuff like this. You don't complain to wardrobe. And we're it's just a shitty Halloween wig. We're not in a professional theater. And you know what? We were right.
And look who's in New York now, bitches.
Yeah, Liz is what do you call yourself? Sound engineer?
Well, technically I'm a podcast producer, so I do it all. Baby.
Do you want to say what you do and where you work, or are you going to keep it on the DL?
No, I work for Bloomberg, so if any of your Heaving Bosom listeners are into the markets or what the Fed's up to, tune in.
You guys definitely had a feminism in the workplace sort of gender equality podcast.
Yes, we have a podcast called The Paycheck. So just go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Type in The Paycheck. It's a series all about like the gender pay gap. And then we're actually working on a season 2, which comes out March 27th. So that one will be based on motherhood and how that specifically affects the pay gap. So yeah, they've let me put some feminism in the Bloombergs. So I consider that a win.
Yeah, totally. I think there'll be a lot of people that are interested in that. All right, so should we get down to it?
Let's do it.
So we read And Playing the Role of Herself by oh shit. This is what I'm saying. We're not good at this. K.E. Lane.
Side note, this author, you can't find this author anymore. Like, I was like, ooh, what other things has this author written? And she's like a dust particle in the wind. Like, her website is broken. There are no other books. Like, this is it. So take it in, guys. She might be dead. We don't know.
If anyone knows K.E. Lane, let us know.
We just want to know if she's okay.
She probably changed her name and started writing something else. That's very common in the romance world, is like the pen name will change and then the person will evolve into something else. But yeah. Yeah. Also, maybe you send out a search party. I don't know. When I read this, I thought, oh, this was written in like 1998. Did you get that feeling as well?
Yes.
It was written in 2006.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was like before. I mean, I don't know. It's like it was like the precipice of like when being gay is like cool or okay-ish, I guess, like in like the medias.
Yeah, I was trying to like remember back to 2006. Like you may have a better memory of 2006 than I did as far as like what it's like to like ladies, but I don't. I felt like I don't know. I felt like this book read to me like the 90s, but maybe I'm just not remembering what 2006 was actually like.
Well, this is also 2006 in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so it should be more progressive than the rest of the world.
But yeah, I think that was pretty accurate for the time.
Okay. All right.
I think.
So is this the first romance novel you've ever read?
You know, it was.
Yeah?
Yeah. And so I didn't really know what to expect. My fiance, Kate, has read a good deal of romance novels. So I always kind of heard like, well, yeah, she's a big,
I didn't know
she's
that.
a big HB, of course.
I did not know that.
So she's told me, like, about like what she's read and like just like how the plot lines typically go down. But I, of course, had never read one until I cracked open this book. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at the easiness of the read and that it was like just like enjoyable.
Yeah. That's like we say it's like dessert. It's like you don't have to go home and like eat vegetables. It's like you go home and have like a slice of cake. So I think this is the first lesbian romance we're doing on the podcast. We tried to do one I almost said a couple years ago, but like a year ago, and the recording wasn't good and we didn't end up releasing it. So here you are. You're on
wasn't that the Patreon?
Yeah, we ended up releasing it just for patrons because we just didn't think it was a good episode, so we didn't put it out. But then we waited a year and put it on for patrons. All right, so this is listed often as people's like first lesbian or female romance novel. They're like, oh, this is the first one I ever read. Or it's often listed as like the best one. Like, this is the one that you have to, if you're into female romance, this is like the seminal book. And I can kind of see why it is that way.
Yeah, I mean, the dialogue is like super like, I mean, it's kind of cheeseball in some ways, but like is very like casual. Like it takes place in like the more present day, so you don't have to like go all England times on this and try to understand other things happening in society. And then also, at least for me, it was like, oh, I can relate to this because I'm an avid like Law and Order SVU watcher. And well, I feel like I've seen every episode. All of the episodes.
You've seen every SVU episode?
I know, there's only like 700, but I've seen them.
I don't think I've ever seen one Law and Order SVU episode.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a Law and Order episode, ever.
Well, but we're talking Olivia Benson here.
I don't know who that is.
For real?
No.
Oh, man. I don't even know.
Didn't Taylor Swift name her cat that?
Well, yeah.
That's what I know of Olivia Benson.
So she's such an influential character that she appeals to T-Swizzle enough. So
I don't know. I just like, I don't want to go home and watch Law and Order. Like, I just feel like that's...
Okay.
Here's the problem with Law and Order. I'll go home and watch like a crime show that's like so ridiculous that it's like not even, it's like Grey's Anatomy for doctors. Like I'll go home and watch like one of the really stupid ones, like Bones. I don't mean Bones is a stupid show, but it's not like realistic at all. Yeah. But like Law and Order is like just realistic enough that it's like not fun for me.
And they're always, I feel like the episodes are always kind of based on like, loosely based on what's happening in the world. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, oh, this like most recent episode was like something about 23andMe, which was very much like the Golden State Killer thing.
Sure.
But they did their own like kind of corny spin on it.
Did it happen in like 2 weeks? They're like, let's get this DNA test. And then like the next day they're like, it's back. Let's put him in jail.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But because this book is like, takes place with actors on a show very similar to Law and Order, I could also find it easy to like jump into.
All right, so we've got Cadence, who is on a show called Ninth Precinct, and she plays a hard as nails cop. The first scene made me upset because the first scene is her interrogating a child who I think is a victim of something. She's like,
yep.
She like gets in his face and she's like, who hurt you? And it's like, I've never seen even a TV show like a Law and Order or something that is like, you know what we'll do is we'll put the child in the interrogation room, the victim. I mean, I've seen them interrogate child like murderers and stuff, but like, yeah, let's put him in there and like really like pound on the table and be like, you're gonna tell us.
Who raped you, Timmy?
Yeah, who is the murderer? Like, I just thought that was hilarious. Yeah, and so she does that, and she, like, gets in the kid's face and makes the actual kid cry. So that's our first look for Cade. And the director, like, is like, cut, don't make the kid cry. And her internal monologue about this director is constantly like, oh, this is a guest director and he's like always in my face and always wrong. But it's like always about something that she like really super screwed up. So I think maybe like he's a good director. You shouldn't make the child actor cry.
Yeah. And like she like you find out that she's kind of like new to acting anyway. So like prior to being on this show, she was like a hot chick in a beer commercial or something.
A beer commercial that everyone has apparently seen. They're always like, yeah, beer girl, beer slut.
So like, hey, Kate, perhaps listen to this director person because like learn your place.
Yeah. And so she like, so after the scene, she like looks over at her coworker, Liz, who's like a sexy blonde, like child starlet superstar lady.
Yeah. And she's also Southern.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Who's also a Southern belle. And like, I thought she was going to be our heroine, but I guess not. I was really excited it was going to be Liz and Cade. And then it turned out that's not the case. Liz is just a friend, a sexy friend who she likes to describe sexily. So Cade goes back to her trailer and there is a lady in her trailer named Robin, who is from another show called In Their Defense, in which Robin plays a defense attorney, and then she's kind of sometimes on Ninth Precinct. Is this a common Law and Order thing where they, like, cross over?
Well, it used to happen when there were more Law and Order spin-off-y shows, like Criminal Intent, for instance, but they are all off the air, and I feel like SVU is the only survivor.
Did you watch Criminal Intent?
Yeah.
Okay. Riddle me this. SVU, I get it, because all of those cases are going to be special victim cases, right?
Yeah.
Criminal intent, like, what is the difference? All the crimes need criminal intent.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so, like, it mostly, like, centered on, like, these, like, they were, like, kind of like two storylines. Like, one was, like, this dude was, like, a crazy good detective, and he could, like, basically figure out the puzzles of people's minds.
Of course.
And then the other one starred Mr. Big from Sex and the City. He was like the other team of CI people. And he like wasn't as smart, but he looked better. So
he looked better? Ugh.
No, it was nothing glamorous. But yeah, so perhaps that question of like, what exactly does this person do that's different than anybody else? It was too much, and the show was canceled. So
fair, okay.
But I would say it's more like the Shonda Rhimes shows when there were like
like
kind of crossovers.
And all right, that makes sense. Okay, so this girl Robin comes and is sometimes a guest on the 9th Precinct show, and she plays a defense attorney. And when she comes, shares a trailer with Cade, and Cade is all about it. She immediately identifies her as a sexy woman. She's super tall, leggy, dark hair. She's got one sexy eyebrow that she likes to talk about.
And like a deep, like throaty voice.
Very.
Which I'm like, does she sound like a smoker? Like I can't.
Like constantly she's talking about her bedroom like throaty voice. Like, okay.
I'm trying to think of like, is there an actress out there that like has this kind of voice?
Kathleen Turner.
Okay.
Which is her name.
Or do you think like Gal Gadot? Do you think her voice is kind of like that?
Yeah,
or do you think lower?
That. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that.
All right, I'm gonna go with that.
You know who I think of, who's not a famous person, but you're gonna know, is like you know on The Bachelor, the Danielle that was the nurse that kissed Wells.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and she had like the bleachy blonde hair, the one with the dead fiance.
Mm-hmm.
I think her voice is one of those voices that's very like low and like sexual.
I like it. I'm gonna go with this.
And that is a segment called References Only Liz and I Get. Okay. All right. Liz is a big Bachelor fan. Okay, so she's in her trailer. They kind of flirt a little bit. Cade usually like giggles and can't act like an adult around this woman, Robin, but like for the first time, for like no real reason, she's able to like have an adult conversation with her.
Well, kind of, because like Robin's sleeping on the couch and then Cade walks in and she's like, I'm so tired or something. And then she's like, should I make room for you on the couch? And she's like, no, but I might have joined you. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I don't know what kind of exchange that is, but I guess it is like better than what it had been according to Cade.
Yeah.
And then Robin's
she
like,
just giggled at her before.
Yeah. And then Robin's like, wink, I'll remember that.
Uh-huh.
So clearly they're already kind of flirting.
Yeah. So they have, Cade laughs and Robin's like, you have a great laugh. Like, I never noticed that before. Cade's like, ooh, I think she's flirting with me. But Robin has like a very famous tennis pro boyfriend who's like a famous hot person. So yes. Cade knows that Robin is straight because of that. So she's trying not to be like too into it.
Right. And they're like media darlings, so they're all over like Us Weekly and People and stuff whenever Robin and his name's Josh, right?
Josh Riley, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's where Cade says that she like just now recently in her life noticed that she's into ladies.
Ugh. Okay.
Liz, help me.
This was like, okay, so like, this book, very cute, but like this was like my one issue that I was like, I don't know if this should be the book because this character is like, it's such a trope I feel to be like, oh, but now I'm gay because I'm gay now. But she had, I feel like, admitted to herself that she had feelings for other women and was kind of coming around to it. But she admits at this point that she's never actually been with a woman, just thought about it.
Right, but she says, like, she didn't even start thinking about it until, like, I think she's in her early 30s or at least late 20s. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I just realized that I'm into girls. And I'm like, I feel like I don't buy that.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't want to take away from anybody else's story. But no, I feel like you just know. Like, you grow up and, like, sure, like, you know, boys are cute and fun to hang out with. And everybody says you should hang out with boys. But, like, honestly, you're always like, I would have just as much fun, if not more fun, with my girl who is a friend also. So, like, you kind of know. So maybe she was just in denial for way too long.
I'm learning more things about you because I feel like what you just told me was that you always knew.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least I feel like I knew when I was like 12, maybe. Yeah.
So, like, pretty much, like...
the whole time we've known each other. Well, Erin, this is probably the wrong time to just tell you how I've felt all these years. But here goes.
Okay, we gotta move. So the scene that Robin is here to play in, is that a thing? You play in a scene? Act out in? Do acting for? Is that this really bothered me. I'm gonna like get on a what is Melody? A soapbox. So Cade is a cop. Robin's a defense attorney. The scene is that Cade throws Robin against a wall and like kind of strangles her with her arm, does like the arm across the body thing, because the reason why is that Robin is a defense attorney that has successfully defended a child molester and maybe murderer or something like that. I don't know. He did bad stuff to kids in court and won because Cade's character screwed up the evidence, mishandled the evidence. And so the dialogue is like, how dare you defend this child molester? Like, you're a woman, which is like so sexist and horrible. I can't even like touch on that. So like she's mad at her for doing her job, and like she's the one that messed up the evidence, and that's the reason the guy is acquitted, and she throws this woman against the wall, and we're supposed to believe that that's like totally fine. You guys, listen, defense attorneys are just doing their jobs and protecting people's constitutional rights, and if somebody walks because a detective mishandled evidence, that is the risk we take in this democracy, and sorry. And really, Robin should be the one that's mad at Cade for mishandling the evidence and letting this guy go free. That's how I feel about that. And it doesn't matter that she's a woman. That's super sexy. Moving on. Okay. All right.
But then I feel like that's like what actually happens in the scene and what's wrong with it. But like the big part is that like,
yeah, you're right.
Cadence gets so close to Robin. You're forgetting the gay part, okay? Like Cadence,
I'm forgetting the romance part.
Cade like throws Robin against the wall, and this is the first time that they're like touching and super close to one another. And at one point, Cade's like, this like shitty director better call cut, or I'll explode, or kiss her, or both, which would be career-ending moves, because it's 2006, and like I guess if you kiss another lady on screen, you'll be fired or something.
Well, I think it would also be a career-ending move if you just like smooched your straight colleague in front of everyone in the room. Like, I feel like it doesn't have to be Hollywood to just grab like another person who's like just minding their own business, doing their job.
Or yeah, like, and then of course my brain's like, or explode, like literally just like yeah, I guess that would be a career-ending move.
There were a lot of times in this book where I felt like her description of the sexual tension was like way too heightened. I was like, it can't be that bad. Like,
but also maybe it's because she hasn't had sex with a woman before, so she's like it's like all you can think about, I guess. Like, even as like a teenager, you're like, I haven't had sex, but this person's hot and blah. Like, that's all I can think about. I feel like that's what she was going through as like a 30-something-year-old woman.
Fair. I felt like there were a lot of times where it was just like, okay, Robin would like walk into the room and just be sexy, and Cade would like spit out her drink. That happened like 6 times.
It's true.
So many spit takes in this book where she would like, Robin would just like look at her and like raise an eyebrow, and she'd like spit out all her drink, which is great. I've never seen anyone in real life just be like, because somebody was hot. That's crazy.
So needless to say, there's a lot of fireworks between these two when the physical stuff comes about, when they just touch each other. And also at the very end of this scene, I was really weirded out. Also because Cade like tries to kind of apologize for being so rough in the scene, and then Robin like puts 2 fingers on her lips and is like, shh, it's fine. And like I just don't know any acquaintances, even if I had a crush on them, that would do that. This is like first red flag.
Like a lot of the conflict in this book is that Cade likes Robin, but Robin is straight because she's with this like super hunky celebrity man. And like, there's never been a time where a female friend of mine has been like, hush now. And like she calls her baby all the time and like does like the slow hand down her cheek constantly. I'm like, come on. Like it's very clear this woman wants to sleep with you. Like maybe she's cheating on this guy, but she's not straight. There's no way.
Yeah, and there's a few times in the book I feel that Cade's like, well, maybe she's just like that. Maybe she's just touchy-feely. And fair, women like that exist, but mostly, in my opinion, that means they want you. Like, they're into you.
Right.
Like, because, I mean, I love you, Erin, but I'm never going to put my hands on your lips and say, shh, it's fine.
Wait, I thought I was the person that awakened you. This is bullshit. No, I can't imagine any situation where I would do that. And so then the next day, she's going to go with Liz, the blonde Southern Belle starlet, to like a press junket sort of thing. This was a weird scene to me. So they go to this press.
Sorry, sidestep. Do you think Liz is kind of like Reese Witherspoon?
I could see that. I guess
like
I was
blonde,
imagining.
Southern.
Yeah. I think I was imagining like a more, I don't know how to say it, like a more like big hair. Like Reese Witherspoon isn't to me enough of like strong Southern Belle sort of personality. Okay. I don't know who she's based on.
Okay, because I always have to cast people, and I was having a hard time with her. But yeah, I agree.
Okay, so they're at this press junket. And a guy asks a journalist asks the question. It's such a weird question I've never heard happen in real life ever. That's like, hey, like it's like his personal. It's just like what he personally, Jim, wants to know. He's like, hey guys, there's a lot of fan fiction out there that is lesbian fan fiction and has you guys smooching. And how does that affect your like on-screen friendship or your real life friendship and on-screen whatever? And Cadence, who's read some of this, is like, it doesn't, because it's fan fiction and it doesn't make me feel weird about her at all. And like it was a very, very. Did you find it weird? It
was weird, but I feel like here's my theory: is that this question comes in and it talks all about fan fiction, then it explains. Like, Cadence has to explain to Liz basically what fan fiction is. Mm-hmm. So it makes me think that perhaps this book started as Law & Order SVU fan fiction. Because it's like, it's so self-aware. Because there's always been like a weird theory that, not weird, but a theory that Olivia Benson is gay. And there was this ADA a couple years back named Alex Cabot, who she was apparently gay for. And if you look on YouTube and you type in Alex and Olivia SVU, there's a ton of like tribute videos of like.
Do they look like this?
No.
Oh, okay. I was psyched.
But I feel like it's so similar that it can't be ignored. And the fact that this book is like, well, for everybody who doesn't know, here's what fan fiction is.
Yeah, I felt like there were a few nods throughout the book of like, because this was maybe one of the first like popular female romances, at least that's what the internet is telling me.
Yeah.
There were a lot of nods to things like that. Like, here's fan fiction, here's this, here's that, here are things that you might experience if you're like coming out. Like, there were a lot of those things that I thought were superfluous to the story, but seemed to be like things that the author wanted to add in for the fan base. Okay. So Cade takes this question and it's fine. Liz freaks out in a way that I did not understand at all. Like, She lost her shit. She was like, do people think that I'm a lesbian? Do people think that I'm the type of woman that would kiss another woman? And why do they think that? And then they give her some of the lesbian fan fiction to read, and she is all about it in a very weird way.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a situation. They're in a limousine, or at least a car, where she's like reading this on her laptop. I can't imagine a situation where I read fan fiction about my friend, like erotic fan fiction in front of my friend. Like, and I'm like, this is really good. This is really good.
And you say there are more stories like this? And then Liz asks Cadence, like, well, how did you find these? And Cadence was like, nah, I was research. Sure.
Yeah. So then the next scene we get is like a table read or a writer meeting. I think a table read, right?
Yes.
And this is another situation where, like, Robin walks in and she's super sexy, notably because of her toe rings, which I thought was...
Okay, so if you wanted something that dates it, the toe rings date it.
There's a lot of discussion about toe rings. But, like, okay, 2006, we were what? Sophomores in college?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're in a sorority at this point, right?
I am.
All right, were toe rings big? Like, think back.
I feel like they perhaps were, but also we went to school in the Midwest, so, like, you didn't really see, like, the summer months when people were perhaps most wearing toe rings, right?
The toe ring months. I wonder if this was actually written in, like, 2002, but, like, published in 2006.
Yeah, you're probably right. So if it were 2002, I would say, 100%.
Yeah,
toe
we
rings.
wore toe rings in high school. I remember toe rings being a thing.
Yes.
I remember my mom going on vacation and bringing me back a toe ring. Like, here's
Really?
what I got for you in Florida is a toe ring.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
I never wore it. I wasn't cool enough. I felt like I couldn't wear a toe ring.
Can you wear it now?
I don't think so. I can't even imagine a situation in Alaska where somebody's like, check out my toe ring.
Just like, a question.
3 days out of the year where we can wear sandals at all. Like, the idea that somebody jazzes that up with a toe ring is like a lot. It would be very extra. So yeah, she walks in, she's sexy. Cade thinks something to herself like, oh, she's really sexy. And then a man says like the same thing that Cade was thinking. And again, she does a spit take, which is very, really weird.
Yeah, it's like, can you hear what I'm thinking? And yeah, and like at this point, like we're meeting a lot of like the cast members and stuff.
Right.
And like another thing, I don't know, it's just like we're being introduced to these characters just because they're there, not because they like
no one matters
all to the story. It's true.
And there's a revolving door of directors too. There's like the first guest director, there's another guest director.
Right.
I think this author like inserts things that she thinks her fans, that either she wants her fans to know about or thinks that they want to read, because all of these people are like misogynist in their different ways.
Right.
Like there are just different kinds of men that are annoying for different reasons kind of peppered throughout this whole thing. So I think that's maybe the situation.
Because men suck.
Yeah.
This is about ladies.
This is lady time. So this table read is to announce that, so Liz, I guess, went to the writers and said, I want there to be a lesbian storyline like this media dude talked about, and I think that would really help all the ratings. And then the writers were like, yeah, but it's not going to be you. It's going to be Robin and Cade, because Cade, we didn't really describe her, but she's like a really tough cop, and she's got like short, spiky black hair, but like I guess in a sexy way.
Yeah, like butch, but like femme butch, because like she's not. I don't know. It was very sketchily like described.
So
of course Cadence freaks out.
Yeah, in the series finale, she's got to make out with Robin, the defense attorney. And they said that they chose the two of them to be the characters that make out because in focus groups or whatever that they've apparently done since last Tuesday, that scene of Cade shoving Robin against the wall, people thought that they might kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that tension. So anyway, yeah. So Cade's freaking out.
Robin, well, then Liz freaks out because like she's like, "What the hell?
Right,
like this was like my idea, and like, what are you doing?" Rah!
Yeah,
and, like,
Liz loses her
away.
shit on the writers, and then Cade is nervous for other reasons, and so she takes it out on the writers. Is like, "Why would you do this in front of everybody? And now you've pissed Liz off because Liz is like a temperamental starlet that'll lose her mind and ruin everybody else's day." And then she tells the showrunner to like shove it or something like that, which is not a good move. So that's the end of that. So before the table read, Cade invited Robin to lunch with her. And then after the table read, Cade is like, I can't even think about Robin. Like, I'm going to have to smooch her on TV. This is bad. And then Robin's like, what about remember lunch? And like, Cade's like, all right. So they go have a picnic together in the mountains. And this is when we find out that Cade has named her car Twyla. I can't.
I thought that you might love this part in particular.
I can't. You don't name cars, right?
No, it's ridiculous.
Because you're a serious woman in the world. Thank you.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. So she names her car Twyla, and then Robin's like, hey, Twyla. And then Cade is like, oh my God, I'm in love with this woman. Like, gross.
So often in romance novels when like girls name their cars and then the guy plays along, they're like, oh my God, he's so cute. So I'm glad that also in lesbian romances we can have the same stupid thing. So they go on the mountain picnic, and then while they're on the picnic, Robin invites Cade to go to dinner with her and Josh, her sexy
tennis man
boyfriend. Yeah. At Robin's house. So that's what we get the next chapter. Cade goes over to Robin's house. Josh is there. It's kind of like a weird threesome vibe, and I was kind of like hoping maybe that's where we were going.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe because like they were both like so happy to have her there. Like Josh was like, "Oh my God, it's Cadence Harris."
Yeah, and he comments that she's hot several times. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember when you were the beer slut."
The beer wench. Yes.
And he's kind of like always touching her on the arm and stuff. And so I was like, oh, either this guy is into it and that's going to be one of the conflicts in the book, or like he's maybe gay and doesn't feel like there's any kind of, there's no tension there. So he's like touching her on the arm and it's fine.
Right.
But I thought that was a little, I was thinking we were going to get a threesome, but we didn't. He leaves. And then Cade tries to leave, but she's like, Robin's like, no,
wait,
stay. I'm like,
come to my room with me and drink wine.
Yeah, she's like, I'll give you the tour, mostly of the bedroom, and like come out on the balcony of the bedroom, and like we'll drink on the balcony, and like here's my sweatshirt for you to wear in case you get cold. I'm like, come on, Cade, like clearly,
many clues here.
Yeah. And while they're on the balcony, Robin says to Cade that she's not actually with Josh. That's something that's kind of just for the media, and they've let them assume that, and they've never really lied about it, but they've never really confirmed it either.
Right. And so then, like, okay, sorry, go ahead. I don't want to get ahead of this.
No, but Cade, like, freaks out when she tells her this because she feels like she's being lied to, which I thought was very weird because she's only really known this woman a week.
Well, I feel like this is played out so much in Cade's head at this point that she's like, her head is ahead of where they actually are. And so it's like a girlfriend getting mad at you for like withholding information.
Right. I don't know why she got mad, because I don't feel like Robin ever had the opportunity to be like, hey, I'm not with Josh, because it's the first time they've like hung out alone except for that work lunch. So,
right. But it also could be that like Cadence realizes now that Robin is a possibility, and that means that she has to confront truths about herself at this point.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's the reason. But then they immediately make up. Like, basically, Cade like hurries off, and then Robin calls her and is like, I don't know what I did. And then they make up, and then they go on a run.
Yes.
The next day. Yeah.
I mean, they get really touchy-feely at the end of the run. Like, they're like kind of playing around with each other, and Cadence puts her arms around Robin in like a this is fun, friends type way,
and then it gets
like
weird.
It gets like they have like a moment where they probably should have kissed, but then they didn't, and then Robin gets all, oh my God, what's happening? And she like gets in her car and like drives away and is all icy cold toward Cadence.
Yeah. And then also that it's like in front of like, there's like a teen boy there that's kind of weird. Yeah, because I think they're about to kiss, and then there's like a teen boy that's like off in the distance that's like, hey lady, you dropped your keys or something like that.
Yes. Isn't it at this point though where like Cadence like tells Robin like, hey, like I've never been with, or not yet? No,
it's not yet.
Okay, sorry. Forget that I said that.
No, it's not yet.
Okay.
So after that, so Robin like storms off. Cade doesn't know what she did wrong. Cade has lunch with Liz, in which she and Liz eat Thai food for like, I don't know, 50 pages and talk about nothing. And then Liz is like, I'm okay with the scene not being my scene. And she's like asking her if she's nervous. And Cade's like, I've never kissed a girl, but I've thought about it. And Liz is like needling her, and it's a complete throwaway chapter. It does not matter. So the next time Cade sees Robin is Cade gets in a mountain bike accident.
Oh God. Okay, listener. This is like, get ready. Like, there's so many of these like issues that happen to poor Cadence where you're like, well, why would the characters ever talk to each other when something horrible could happen to Cadence instead?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the first of 15 times where Caden gets, like, hurt or in trouble, and Robin had, like, just been a bitch and then decides not to be a bitch anymore. Did you like Robin?
Well, I liked how hot she apparently was, but I guess that was one of my issues throughout the book. I'm like, okay, Cadence seems like a real person, has flaws and so forth, like, overreacts, but then, like, we never get anything from, this is all told from Cadence's point of view, so we never understand like why Robin does the shit that she does, and she only like half-heartedly explains herself ever. So
yeah, the explanations didn't rise to the level of bitchiness I feel like she put forward.
Right. So maybe she's just a bit much in general as like a person.
I kind of felt like Cadence only likes Robin because she's like super duper sexy and like the only woman that she's ever like had a shot with since she realized that she's gay. So like, well, I don't know. Cadence seems like a nice person, and Robin seems horrible.
Right. Basically, yes.
But she always comes back around as soon as Cade's life is threatened. So,
which that counts for something, you know.
Yeah. As long as she keeps getting hurt, this relationship's going to last. Well, and the other thing is, I felt like the two of them, they didn't have any like specific reasons why they liked each other. Like, I got that they did, but I didn't really understand.
No, the book really makes it seem like it's very physical. Like, they think each other is hot, they have crazy effects on one another, but even the times when they talk about like, this is what my family's like, it's like yawn like, yeah. I don't know, they don't have anything in common other than their job, and that they're both into banging ladies.
And that they work out. Like, I felt like anytime they talked about their families or their past, it was like, oh, interesting, and never like, me too. Like, there was never any like,
download this information about me, move on.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Cade's in this mountain bike accident, and because of that, she's like laid up on her couch, and she misses some party she's supposed to be at, but she forgets. And Liz calls her, is like, you're supposed to be at this party. And Cade's like, I'm sorry, I was in a very serious mountain biking accident.
I was in the hospital. People told me to stay home.
Robin, apparently, we don't know. This is all from Cade's perspective, the whole book. Apparently, like, loses her shit at the party, like, drops everything. Like, I just imagine her, like, holding a drink and then just, like, dropping it and darting out of the room.
You're probably right.
And shows up at
Cadence's house.
Yeah, Cadence's house, and is like, I'm going to take care of you. And she ends up staying the night.
Yes. But they just, like, flirt, and, like, she kind of, like, lets Cadence, like, sleep on her lap. And so, like, nothing crazy happens, really.
She tucks her in. Like, that was kind of cute. It's fine.
I guess if this is, like, our glimpse at, like, oh, like, Robin can be sweet and thoughtful.
But then she turns, like, on a dime.
Don't get comfortable, bitch. Listener. Yeah, exactly. Don't you get comfortable here.
So then they wake up the next morning, Robin's sleeping on the couch, and they start talking about how their big kiss is coming up, like, next week, and if they're nervous and stuff like that. And Cade says that she's never kissed a woman. And Robin gets totally messed up by this and is like...
But what?
To the point where, like, Cade's like, I've never kissed a woman. And Robin's like, but I thought... Like, she starts that sentence several times, and then Cade's like, you thought what? And Robin's like, I don't know. I'm a bitch, and I'm leaving. Like, it's like, Cade, if you can't figure this out, like, it's pretty clear here.
Right.
So she was supposed to have dinner with her and stuff, and, like, she cancels dinner.
She ghosts, and then, like, doesn't she show up in, like, the press hanging out with Tennis Man?
Yeah, she says she's going out of town, but then she's, like, very clearly in the tabloids, like, at a restaurant down the street with her tennis boyfriend. So that really upsets Cade. Yeah. So then it's the big kiss day, and Cade hasn't heard from Robin. Cade's real mad.
Real mad. Like, attitude.
A lot of attitude. And Robin's very, like grabs her collar and is like, hey, are you nervous? Like, he's like, I'm not nervous. I'm pissed off at you because you canceled dinner and you're not being a good friend to me. And so they fight, and then it's time for the kiss scene.
Yeah, like Cadence like can't get any resolution, so she's like, you know what? I'm an actor, so I'm gonna use this.
Use it. I'm gonna take it out in the kiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they kiss, and then they like it's a good one. Like, it's
real good. It's like mad.
Pulls her back
desperate.
in for a couple more kisses, and
yeah,
they
like, kind of
touching boobs.
They kind of go. They improv a little. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. I definitely remember like Cade going under Robin's suit jacket, and I wasn't sure if it was in the front Z's or the back Z's, but I was like, damn, SVU. Like,
yeah, it was like probably not actually what would happen in 2006 on the television, but it was good for the read.
Yeah. And then everybody on the set is kind of like real awkward about it. Yeah. This is one of those times where there's like awkward men around that are like, damn, like you saw into my fantasies, am I right? And like we're just professional actresses.
At least, you know, going back to like the shitty guest directors. This is a lady guest director, at least. So
was it?
The author, the author gives us that.
There was somebody, I don't know if it was a writer or somebody who said something about like, you've been seeing into my fantasies or something weird like that. And I was like, oh.
Could have done without.
So after that, Cade's like, I need to see Robin and talk to her because like this kiss has ignited a fire in me. And like she like.
In my loins.
Yeah. She like goes to Robin's house. Every time I hear the word loins, you know what I think of? I think
pork loins?
No, I think of tender loins from the morning announcements in high school. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry. You guys, somebody got fired from doing the morning announcements in our high school for putting a pause between tenderloins when announcing the lunches.
Lunch menu. Yeah, I almost got fired because I laughed at a Burger King scholarship when it specified you cannot work at Burger King to get the scholarship. Come on, guys. Sorry, digression.
That is funny. Okay, so, all right. So, Cade goes to Robin's house. Yes. And there's a party at Robin's house, and there's somebody there that's like, I'm at the party at Robin's house. And she's trying to get inside. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm hanging on every word you're saying as if I'm living it the first time.
All right. So she goes and knocks on the door, and Robin comes out, and she's super angry, and she's like, Cade, I have guests. Why are you here?
What do you want?
Yeah.
And like, she's like real icy about it.
Cade's all like, there's something between us and blah, blah, blah. Listen, guys, they have a total fight outside her house, and then they have a total super hard makeout against her door.
Yeah. And then it's like so desperate and wanting and all those words.
Yeah, it's good
tongues
stuff.
Lashing.
Tongues lashing out at each other. Yeah, it's great. It's super hot. And then Robin's like, you know what? I forgot. I'm a bitch. So she's like, hey, Cade, I'm not going to be your little like lesbian experiment. Yeah, experiment. That's what I said.
Very different. I'm not going to be your
experiment. I'm not going to be your gum. Taste fresh and minty for you.
Yeah.
So I felt like a lot of this book, like mini books, is if they just like talked to each other, it would have been resolved, because like Robin's very like, oh, you just suddenly realize you're into women and I'm going to be your like first, test the waters thing. And all Cade needed to say was like, no, I realized I was into women a long time ago. I just haven't acted on it yet. Like, I feel like if Cade explained her journey, then Robin would have probably been fine with it. But Robin thought that Cade like just now realized.
Yeah, and it's like also Robin makes it seem like, I don't know, she's had plenty of ladies in the past, and like, what does she care? You know,
because it's different with Cade. It's different.
I forgot that part. But it's like, I don't know. There was a lot of like conflicting things going on. But yes, had they just talked about it, I feel like it would have, we wouldn't have had so many horrible things wouldn't have happened to Cadence.
Right? We wouldn't have had such a long book, and Cadence would have almost died multiple times.
Yes.
So Robin like rejects Cadence, and Cadence gets real upset. And then there's going to be like a big fancy Hollywood party. And so Cadence is like, you know what?
Scene.
I'm gonna get
slut it up,
real slutty, and I'm gonna get laid tonight. And I don't know why she doesn't think Robin will be there, because it's like a show party, and you would think that she would be there, but she's like,
listen. She was so focused on getting all slutted up that she couldn't even entertain the idea that this woman might show up again.
Yeah, but I think in some way she was like hoping that she'd show up and like see how sexy she was in her
of course.
outfit.
I mean, isn't that how it works?
Yeah. But then she sluts it up hardcore, gets there, and everybody's like, wow, Cadence, you look like a slut.
Damn. Yeah.
Damn.
And so Cadence starts talking to some other hot chick named Magda.
It was the classic, like, she's an actual cop who like consults on the show and is like real muscly, and she's like, she's probably gay, I'll go over there.
Yeah. And then she's like, can I bum a cig?
Yeah.
And she's drinking some sort of scotch or something. I don't know. Like, it was all very awkward to me.
Yeah, Cadence is really into scotch and bumming cigarettes. And again, this is another reason why I was like, it's 1998. Like, I feel like smoking hasn't been cool in a very long time. But yeah.
Especially in LA.
So then somebody says something about Robin being there, and Kate is like, oh, Robin too? And then they see each other, and Robin's drunk. First of all.
Yes. And she
second,
like smiles at her like all like, I don't ever understand it when in literature it's like she smiled but not in a nice way. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Like a predatory way?
I guess she's like, oh, like one of those. I don't know.
I'm into it.
Like a bitchy sarcastic smile, like, oh, you dress like a slut, I guess.
Figures.
Yeah. So she, like, makes some drunken comment in front of everybody on the show of, like, oh, so you're just gonna fuck Magna? Why can't I talk, Magna? You're just gonna go fuck Magna, I guess? Like, it was very weird. Like, I don't know how it's surprising to anyone on this show that these two are gay for each other. Like, they share a trailer. Cadence is like, I feel like in the early 2000s, like anyone with short hair was suspect. Like,
you're right. You're definitely right about that.
So Cadence already has short hair, hasn't had a boyfriend in forever. They had a super hot kiss on screen that they did way more than they needed to. And now this situation. And yet still everybody in the cast is like, what? When they find out that they're lesbians.
They must be friends.
Really close friends. Such close friends that they're jealous of each other's friends. So then
Cadence grabs Robin and like yanks her into a bathroom to be like, what the F?
Yeah. And then Robin like tackles her, right?
Yeah, she's like, oh, if you just wanted to lay, then why didn't you say so? And she like Robin puts her like leg in between Cadence's legs and starts grinding.
Cadence is into it.
Way into it, but then is also like, but she's drunk.
Yeah.
So she stops it.
But like she's drunk and also like, hey, this is what I wanted, is to have sex with this woman and like be her girlfriend and stuff. And like now she's like, oh, you can have sex, but you can't be my girlfriend, or you can like, you don't get to make the rules, Robin.
Right.
So Cadence, I think, slaps her, right?
Yeah, to like get her like, pay attention, because at this point Robin's drunkenness really comes through. And then she basically realizes that like she's not going to be able to get through to Robin under these circumstances, but also because Cadence is a nice person, doesn't want Robin to like leave this party wasted because she can hardly walk. So she goes finds Tennis Man Josh.
I think that was self-serving too, because if she let Robin leave that bathroom, Robin in front of everyone in the casting crew was going to be like, we were gay together earlier today, and now you don't want to be gay with me again, and you're gay, and we're having lesbian sex. This is a lesbian fight. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what would have happened.
Yeah, you're right. I could have gone for that, though. It would have spiced things up.
That would have been great dialogue. So then Cade decides to go on a hiking trip with her brother Perry and his friend James. Like, I guess, like, this is the summertime, so that, like, they filmed the season finale, so they're on hiatus. There's a whole chapter of just, like, hiking around with James and Perry that, like, no one asked for and no one wanted.
I mean, they're, like, perfectly fine, nice boy characters, but, like, also, like, does not move the plot. Well, it does move the plot in, like, a very, like, off-center kind of way.
Yeah, well, she comes out to Perry during this hiking trip, so that's something.
Right.
She's like,
blah,
hey,
blah, blah.
Perry, I'm into ladies. And Perry's like, okay, this does not surprise me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, like, 3 days into this, I guess they're doing the whole, like, what's the Pacific Crest or whatever that's over on that side, and she's, like, hiking for part of it with them. But then they turn on the news a couple days later, and they find out that apparently, due to some crazy turn of events,
some comedy of errors.
Yeah. Cade parked her car somewhere, and then
she parked her car behind a gas station that said it was fine. You know, these are the kind of details that we get in this book, you know? Like,
a lot of them. Like, if you want to know exactly how much mayonnaise is on a sandwich, read this book, because, like, it's so detailed for no kind of reason. There were several times where I was like, well, this has to be the ending. Because this is one of those Kindle books that only has locations, not pages. And I'm like, I'm at location 4,000. Like, I have to be close, right? Nope.
You would think.
It's a long book. So she parked her car behind a gas station, and then some youths apparently stole it to joyride. But this is Twyla, right? So this is like a hot car.
No,
it's her truck.
She has a lesbian truck.
Right.
That's like a beat up lesbian truck. And so, yeah, Twyla's safe at home. Don't worry.
Yeah, but anyway, so I don't know why they would have. I was thinking it was Twyla, which is like a hot car, but apparently this is just like a beat up truck. So I don't know why they broke into it and
there's no reason
rode around in it. I've never ever heard of that happening in real life. So
no, definitely.
And I see a lot of crimes. This is not a crime I've seen. So anyway, they take the truck, they don't steal anything from it, and they accidentally crash it into a ravine and bleed all over the inside of it. Oh, no. There's still blood on the inside of the truck from when she crashed her mountain bike. Yeah, so it is her blood, and it's apparently everywhere. She was so bloody. Then she didn't tell anyone.
The authorities are like,
where she was going.
Which is apparently, I'm not a hiker, but I guess you're supposed to do that. Have we learned nothing from that movie with that man in it where he has to saw off his own arm?
Apparently not. But that wasn't out at the time, so they hadn't learned that lesson yet.
You're right. But you tell people where you're going. You tell your plan to someone who's also not on that trip. But she did not do that.
Yeah. So, but also it's like Los Angeles. They're in like Big Bear. Like, I don't think that. Well, I don't know. Where was one arm saw off guy? Probably somewhere close to Los Angeles too. So I shouldn't say that. But it seemed like they were in a pretty populated area. But anyway, so I guess her cell phone hasn't been working or something. But the whole world thinks that she's missing, and so the news is like, missing actress. Like, is she dead? So she calls and is like, I'm not dead. And her friend Liz shows up and is like, I'm so glad you're not dead. Well, and then
the weird part about that is like when she's seeing like, oh my God, missing actress all over the news. It's like they're having a press conference with like the cast of her show who are like, we're so concerned that she's missing.
That is very weird.
Like, it would be like your family or something. It wouldn't be your co-stars. Like if Meredith Grey were missing, we wouldn't have like Alex, Karev, and Bailey being like, bring her back. No, we'd have like her husband or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel like, so she didn't tell anyone where she was going, but like, okay, say somebody's missing. Liz goes missing. You go missing, okay? And I'm cop. I call your friends. I also call your parents, right?
Yep.
And you would think that Liz and Perry's mom would know that Perry, for months on end, is hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. So then you would think that the cops would be like, oh, she's probably hiking with Perry, possibly, because he's currently in Big Bear. And maybe then call Perry and search for Perry. Don't you think?
Well, yes. However, this is not what happened. This isn't even close.
No. Sorry. Anyway. So Liz shows up, and then Robin shows up, and you guys...
Yeah, Liz is like, oh, by the way, Robin's here.
Wherever Robin was when she found out that Cade was missing, she dropped everything in her arms and she just started running.
She was holding, 24 plates.
Some eggs. A coffee mug full of coffee.
A scalding hot coffee. Crashed to the floor.
Yep. Yeah. Broke into several pieces. But yeah, it's very similar to the mountain bike crash and very similar to future events where Robin has just been a huge bitch.
Don't spoil it, Erin. Don't spoil it.
She's in love with Cadence. She's ready to do this. So she's not.
So yeah.
She's not in love with Cadence, but she's ready to do this. So she goes to the motel room and they snuggle times.
Yeah, they like smooch and snuggle, and Robin stays over in her room.
They do that wonderful trope where like Robin gives the whole speech to Cade and is like, I'm ready for this. Like, this is worth the risk. I'm ready to put it all on the line for this, and like does this whole speech. And then like Cade doesn't say anything and like Robin's face falls and she's like, okay, well, I just wanted you to know. And like goes and turns toward the door and like takes a few steps, and then Cade is like, wait. I want you to stay with me. Like, it's very dramatic. So she does.
But yeah, and so then of course in true Cade fashion, she forgives Robin for being a Mondo bitch. Yeah. Yes. And then they snuggle and kiss and fall asleep. And then the next morning they like start snugging and kissing again. And then Robin's like, we better stop because I want to do this properly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, fine.
Like, they kiss so much immediately after they wake up, and all I could think about was morning breath for this whole scene.
Thank you. Yes, like, I hate doing that, like, because I'm so self-conscious that, like, I just have garbage breath, and now you have to taste my garbage breath.
Get up, brush your teeth, get back into bed. Like, and this happens a lot in romance novels, but, like, never to the extent of, there was so much mouth stuff going on in the scene where they were just, like, there was, like, discussion of having their mouths just close to each other and, like, breathing each other's air. And I was like, oh, God. Ooh.
Yeah. Like, at least, like, when you're kissing, you're kind of distracted from what could be horrible breath. But when you're just, like, in proximity, full smells.
Yeah, full smells. Okay, so Robin leaves.
Yeah.
Right? They hang out,
they all go,
all of them.
Yeah. And then, like, Perry... her brother, Cade's brother, is like, oh my God, she's so hot. And then James, the friend, kisses Cadence, which also is not needed.
But Robin is gone by then.
Yeah.
Like, she has to go, we didn't say. So after they smooched, is it? Oh, yeah, it's after this time. She says, I've got to go for 2 months because I'm doing an indie film on location somewhere. I don't remember where.
The Florida Keys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the Florida Keys. So she has to go to her indie film, I think. So it's just now Cade, Perry, and James, the friend. And yeah, James super makes out with Cade on a balcony, and Cade's like, no, I'm not about this. You're a man, you're 20, you smell like Doritos. I don't want anything to do with this.
And he's like, womp womp. Which again, like, detailed, not needed, author. Like, this didn't add anything because we never hear from James again. Spoiler.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna add something. Well, we'll get there, but this didn't go in the way that I thought it was gonna go. So she's about to leave. So Robin is still in town for a couple of days, or she comes back to town for a couple of days before she actually starts filming. And so they're going to see each other before she leaves for 2 months. So Cade goes over to Robin's house. She makes her some shrimp scampies, which we have to hear a lot about.
Yeah, because Robin's real comfortable in the kitchen. She does a lot of, like, chefy things. And Cadence is like, mm-mm.
Yeah, and Robin really likes watching Cadence eat because apparently she just, like, wolfs it down. Like, she really enjoys food.
Yeah,
I just imagine her just being like,
Yeah, and don't worry, listener, this, like, description of Cadence comes back later. Like, you really look like you enjoy that food. Like, which to me does not seem like a compliment. Like, if somebody told me that, I'd be like, I will never eat again.
But also, like, how does somebody, like, overtly show that they really like the food besides just being like,
Yeah, I think that there has to be, like, noise involved. When my brother was younger, one of my older brothers, when he would really enjoy food, you would hear him go, when he would eat. True story. So, Christian, if you're listening, your secret's out.
I was hoping it was your other brother, but that's okay.
No, I never heard him
grow up with him. Yeah,
he was not around for our potato-laden dinners at the Smith household.
I have another friend who had like an issue growing up where whenever she ate food, when she'd chew it, she would make a noise like, and still now today she like subconsciously will do it like when she's alone or when she really enjoys it. She has to like stop herself from doing it consciously when she's in front of people.
Maybe my brother and her should meet.
Maybe. So this is the time where they share about their families. Cade has kind of a weird family where it's like, it doesn't matter except that a lot of things happened with her parents and cheating and stuff. And then her older brother became like a neoconservative Christian asshole.
His name's Sebastian, everyone.
Yeah, and it doesn't really track for me why he became, like, she's like, and that's why my brother is a neoconservative Christian asshole. And I was like, whoa. Wait, that doesn't make sense to me. Like,
right. I think he's technically her half-brother, but even still, that is no explanation.
And then Robin has, like, a very cool, very close-knit family, but none of them know she's gay except for, like, one brother or something. Maybe one
her younger sister.
Something like that. One of them knows she's gay, but the rest are bisexual. I couldn't tell if either of these two were gay or bisexual. I was not clear.
Yeah, I think they're both supposed to be lesbians.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't know if they're trying to say that Cade was bi and had just realized that she's also into women, or she just realized that she's exclusively into women. Because I can kind of buy the first one a little more.
Yeah, I think it should have been the first one, but I think that it was written the second way, where it's like, oh my God, I've been with men, but I'm gay.
Yeah, and I'm 30. But anyway, so that all happens, and then they have sex.
Sexy times, which...
It's on.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I will say this book, for all its issues, the sex scenes, in my opinion, very good, very, like, satisfying, though this first time, okay, we know this is, like, Cadence's first time with a woman, but, like, she's like, but I know the mechanics, which I hate that. I hate that whole, like, idea.
Yeah, so she's kind of like, people have gone down on me, so I know how to go down on other people. And so she has zero nervousness about this. And I didn't buy that. I was like, I would be so nervous if I tried to go down on another lady. But also, I wouldn't enjoy that at all. So maybe that's like, where that comes from. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, she's like into it because, like, you know, Robin makes her cray. But it's also like, I feel like she's kind of like, by saying, like, I know the mechanics, a better way, in my opinion, of putting that is like, okay, I know how to get the answer. It's like working my way backwards.
Right, yeah.
But then there's definitely a line in there where they're like super hardcore making out and they're about to get down to business. And Cadence is like, teach me, show me. And I just am like, woo, any way to like put like water on my fire. That is how. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a pig about this or something. But I would just be like, nerd, let's just go with what feels good. You know?
Yeah. But that's immediately after when, like, isn't Robin like, touch me however you want, explore me, and then Kate is like, teach me how. But then she doesn't need to know. She doesn't need to be taught how, like, at all. She's like, very confident for no reason.
And maybe I read this wrong, but there was definitely a point, like, in like the sex part where like, it made it seem like both of their fingers were inside Robin. And I was like, I've never heard of... I mean, sure, whatever you're into, but like...
I didn't notice that.
Okay.
I love it.
Maybe it was just me. But I was like, I've never once, like...
I'll be honest with you. I read this pretty fast, so I was kind of like, fingers, tongues, sex.
Well, that's what you're gonna get. And like also like the amount of times that the word swipe was used.
That's exactly where I was going. Is I was gonna say the lead up to this is very hot, but like when like the actual orgasms happened, it was like, and then I orgasmed. Period.
Yes.
And the big first orgasm for Cade reads like, and then I had an orgasm, and then it says, as, where is it? It's like, as Robin's tongue swiped my clitoris. And I was like, ugh, swiped?
Like, swiping a credit card? Like, is that like, swipe?
That does not sound sexy.
No, I feel like they could have done a better job at like the whole like orgasm lead up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, less swiping.
Less swiping. So Robin goes to her. Oh, so no, sorry. Big fight has to happen.
Oh, well, of course. Well, so they have like a crazy night of sex.
So it's the best sex everyone
Best
has
sex.
ever had. Maybe in the history of lesbians. This is the
and
best
Robin
sex.
is like, you sure you've never done this before? Like,
of course.
So Cadence is a natural lesbian.
Yeah, she's really good at going down on ladies.
That's right.
And so they wake up the next morning. The first thing is Robin, I think at this point, says that she wants to like take a break for 2 months and just like go on radio silence because she doesn't. This is a very important indie time that director could, like, for her, and like
yeah,
she
like
wants
really
to
launch her into superstardom. Can't fuck it up.
Yeah, so she doesn't want the distraction. That really pisses Kate off, but she gets over it. And then, like, Kate's being cute and, like, wearing Robin's clothes in the morning. And then all of a sudden, Robin's like, my sister's coming, so you have to get out of my clothes and get the fuck out of my house.
Leave. And like, starts, like, kind of, like, putting her hand on her back and, like, ushering her toward the door after, like, this, like, beautiful night that they had together.
Yeah. And so Kate gets really pissed, and she's like, I'm sorry.
And, like, rightly so at this point.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not, like, a one-night stand. And Robin's like, I'm sorry that just because you're a good fuck, I'm not going to come out to my sister right now. And they get in a big ol' fight. And then the sister knocks on the door. Trish.
Of course, the sister's, like, right there.
Yeah. And Kate is just changed out of her clothes. And she's like, oh, good morning, Trish. I'm Kate. Like Robin's
I work with your sister
platonic friend.
sometime. Yes.
And I just came over for breakfast, and now I will be leaving. Like, and then she realizes she doesn't have her car keys or her shoes or her bag.
Her purse, yeah.
Or credit cards. Nothing. No shoes even.
And so she, like, is out at her car at this point, is like, damn it! And then Robin comes, like, running after her. And, like, at this point, Robin's wearing, like, a black, silky robe and nothing more. Which is also very, like, questionable.
Like, I feel like there were a lot of... Also, when she was in the forest or that motel or whatever, there was a lot of like, why is Robin here in the morning? I was just borrowing this hat. Like,
yes, they would. You'd think they'd have their story a little more straight by now. But
also, like, as adult women, sometimes we sleep over at each other's houses. It's not super weird. Just be like, this is my friend Cade. She got too drunk last night. Like, that's all you have to say. Like. It's very
weird. Where were you,
weird.
Erin? Where were you?
They have to be like, I was here to borrow this egg. Now I will be leaving.
Yes. So basically, like, Robin, like, apologizes for being a bitch again. Are you guys getting used to this? Because, man, there's more coming.
Constant.
And so then, like, Kate goes back in the house and, like, introduces herself to her, Trish, the sister. And Trish is, like, super not nice, really.
Yeah,
and
she's like, all you actresses don't do anything.
You're just pretty. You get paid for it. And then Kate is like, oh, hell no. She kind of gets, like, mean back and is like, well, because your sister is so pretty, she has to work twice as hard, which, like, point taken. And then Trish is like, right.
Well, yeah, and then Kate leaves, and Robin, like, chases her out and is like, you were mean to my sister, and that turns me on. And, like, smooches her up against the car.
Yeah. Classic Robin.
And then she leaves, and then Robin's gone on her trip. So here are things that happen while Robin's gone on her trip.
Yes, thank you.
The tabloids break the kiss with James. Because there was a photographer who saw Kate and James on the balcony kissing.
Also, I just want to know, who are these photographers that are following around, like, B-list, like, SVU stars? It would be like it would be like the character, for all you people, I know that there are HBs that watch SVU. It would be like the character, the lady that plays the character Amanda, like, is splashed all over the front pages of, like, Us Weekly. And we're like, so... Who cares?
They were at Liz's beach. Liz is apparently like a legit star person.
Yes.
And they were at Liz's beach house when this happened. So I think the photographer was probably trying to catch Liz and ended up with this like shittier picture instead. But still, it doesn't explain why it's on the cover of every tabloid. You'd think they'd be like, oh, maybe I can get like a few bucks for this. Yeah.
Slow week.
I guess. So this breaks and she has to like deal with her publicist and everything. I really thought that Robin was going to see the picture with James and be like, what the hell? And that never happens. I assume that was the next conflict.
It should have been. It would have been the most like, oh yeah, we can understand why Robin's kind of being a bitch this time. But no.
Nope, that doesn't happen. She and Kate and Liz go to a fancy seafood restaurant called Crustacean.
It's a place to be seen, everyone.
And again, nothing happens except for they run into Josh, who Robin's boyfriend Josh.
Tennis
and
man.
Liz thinks that maybe Cade is in love with Josh, and that's why she's being so weird. Then Cade has a day date with Josh where they hang out as friends. Cade meets Robin's mom, who's Spanish and a chef.
I guess. Yeah.
Or owns a restaurant or whatever. Right. And her and Josh eat there. It's clear that mom knows that Robin is gay, and she's very weird at Cade about it.
Yeah, she's like, you... And also, why did Robin have to have a different name?
I don't know. Like, her actual name is apparently Sabina. Who cares?
Yeah, and she's like, you make my Sabina smile.
Which is like... Okay. But like you've never seen them together. You've never met this woman before. And she like caresses her cheek too. She's very like her daughter. She's like, oh, I can see you will bring back my Sabina's smile. Bring her smile back. And it's like, you don't know this woman. She could like legit just be her friend. Like if your mom... If your mom ever came up to me, like, caressed my cheek and was like, bring back my Lizzie's smile, I would be like, ma'am, I'm not gay. Like,
did she get in an accident or something? Like,
the answer is no, Robin never gets in an accident. It's always
That's right. That's right.
But that was very weird, and I didn't feel like Robin was overly depressed either. It didn't seem like her smile was gone. It was very weird.
Yeah, very weird. Her mom in this book is like a Spanish Yoda because she is very wise and like knows stuff.
And the sister is there. It's the sister's restaurant. She's the chef there, and the sister's pissed because she thinks that Kate is out with Josh, who's Robin's boyfriend, and she's like Josh is two-timing Robin right under their noses at their family restaurant. So,
but she sees what she is. She knows.
Yeah. And so she calls the press and is like, guess who's cheating on who is these people, and they're here. And then all the cameras come, and Josh and Cade get in this like media scandal of is Josh cheating on Robin with Cade. It doesn't really matter much.
No, not at all.
To the plot. So then the next thing that happens is Robin shows up in the night with a hoodie and is like, I'm secretly here and let's have sex. And then they do. And then are they at a hotel? They must be.
Are they? Oh yeah.
This is the one where she leaves in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. They're in New York at this point because Cadence had to like go do something in New York.
Yeah.
It also doesn't matter.
No.
Really. And then Robin shows up and is like, I need to bang, and I need to bang like now. And what I don't want to do is talk. So shut up.
No talking. Let's have a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And so Cade wakes up alone and is pissed because Robin ghosted her again. And then Cade's going to be on a morning show, like a Today Show or something like that.
Yes.
And then Robin's like this secret special surprise guest on the morning show. And so they show everybody that they're actually friends and they're not, fighting over a man. And then Cade gets real mad at Robin because she's like, why'd you leave? And why didn't you tell me you're on the show? And why are you an asshole? And they get in a big fight. And it turns out Robin left her a note that she didn't see. So...
Of course. That's why. And then Cadence is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm overreacting.
All the fights in this book just seem completely stupid and just like talk to each other and get over it. So, Robin goes back to her movie. Cade hangs out with Liz. Cade tells Liz that she's fucking Robin. Liz seems pretty unsurprised about that.
Yeah, and like I feel like ends one of the chapters with, well, is she a screamer? Is how I imagine her saying it.
I like the idea that like she's some kind of like old-timey like 40s starlet. Oh my, is she a screamer?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and also Liz is engaged. Who the fuck cares? So So Kate goes to see. So Robin finally is like, I can't concentrate anyway because I'm just thinking about you. So you may as well come visit me on location at my indie film. So she goes and visits Robin. They have like 3 days of sex and snuggles. Weird stuff that happens on this trip.
Yeah. Okay. Aside from like sex, the scenes again, they're good.
They're
Even
good.
if you're not
They're all good.
into ladies, I think it's pretty universally
Oh yeah, 100%.
hot.
Super hot. Doesn't matter if you're into ladies or not. So they're talking one night, and all of a sudden, Robin is like, "Hey, makes a joke about like tying each other up or something." Robin makes this joke. Robin says something about like, "Do you want me to tie you up or something?" And Kate was like, "Nah." And Robin's like, "But are you into that? Is that something you want me to do? I really want everything we do together to be things that you enjoy, and I want to do everything that you want me to do." And Kate's like, "Yeah, I just said that I didn't want you to do that." And then Robin's like, "I'm really scarred because of a BDSM relationship that I had, and it was with a woman, and like she hurt me really bad." And Kate's like, did she punch you in the face or like what's your deal?
Did she like hurt you?
Yeah, and Robin's like, "No, she didn't hurt me like physically, but she like made me hurt her physically a lot, and it was like went way too far. And then one day I was like, I don't want to hurt you like this anymore." And then she laughed at me and was like, "Ha ha ha, I was just testing you, stupid American girl, to see how far you would go." And then she made fun of me at a party. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then she's like, "It's very awkward because sometimes I see her in the city now." And then Kate has to be like, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah, Kate has to be like, "Cool story, bro." Like, it's very weird. Like,
yeah. And like, this is like kind of used in the book. Like, this is really the only like insight into Robin I feel like we get. That she's such a jerk.
Yeah.
In her relationships because of this one bad experience she had many moons ago.
And it doesn't track, like, it doesn't... Okay, there's so many things about this that don't make sense. Like, if you were into BDSM, you would... I feel like you wouldn't... There's no thing of, like, oh, I'm just gonna con this person into doing a lot of pain play on me, and then I'm gonna laugh in their face. Like, that's not... And also, like, Robin, you brought it up. Like, it would make more sense if this came up organically. Like, Kate was like, "Hey, would you mind, like, giving me a little spank or something?" Or, you know, and then Robin was like, "No, I'm not comfortable with that anymore because of this experience that I had.
Because here's why."
But Robin was like, "Hey, do you want me to do that?" No. But do you, though? Because I really want to tell you the story.
Because I'm going to make this about me, so get ready for it.
It was very weird.
And I feel like it's during, like, the beach scene, too, where they're having a lot of sex, that, like, Robin has to be like, "You should never apologize for wanting to have sex." And then Kate's like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of like a cat in heat." Like, stop it. Stop. And it just makes you think it's like, you know, have you ever heard a cat in heat? They're like, they make like the worst noises. They're like, "Ah!" Like,
again, I'm going to make another Bachelor reference because I'm just talking to you and we haven't talked about this season yet. But the young girl who sucks, Demi.
Yes.
Did you notice that when he asked her if she had any pets, she was like, "I have a kitty cat." Did you notice?
Yeah.
Like, cats aren't sexy, you guys. Like, that's not sexy to be like, "I have a kitty cat."
I have a kitty cat. Meow. Yeah, not
cat
sexy.
In heat. Okay, they're together, so they have to get in a fight. So, okay. Cade tells Robin that she loves her. Robin clearly likes it because she's like, "Say it again, Cade, say it again." And then like kisses her real hard and she makes Cade say it like 5 times. And then they have mind-blowing lesbian lady sex.
Love sex, though. It's different when lesbians, when we love each other, it gets more intense.
Oh, is that the case?
Yes.
Good to know. I didn't know that's like a magical thing for lesbians. That...
Moving quickly? Check. Saying "I love you? Check." And then it's like you're on a whole nother like mind level in sex.
Oh, okay. All right.
Maybe you straights like experience this too. I don't know. But that's how it is for ladies.
No, we don't. I don't know anything about the ways of love. So thank you for telling me. So they have like super intense sex. Then the next morning, I think Cade says, I love you again, doesn't get it back from Robin.
Right.
And then Robin's like, instead of saying I love you back, she's like, actually, I'm going to go take a shower. Why don't you come shower with me? And Cade's kind of like, I don't really feel like it right now.
Right.
I'm going to make you breakfast. And then
we can talk, and then you'll be
then
on
we
your
can
way.
talk about this. And
Yeah.
then, Cade handles this surprisingly maturely. Robin is like,
so like
instead
Cade
of
like
showering,
leaves the room. Yeah, Cade leaves the room, and then the next thing we know, Robin's like rushing, throwing all her stuff in a bag and like rushing to get out of the cottage or whatever.
Right. And Cade's like, what the hell? What are you doing? And she's like, oh, you're going to withhold sex from me because I didn't say I love you? And Cade's like, no, I don't. Actually, I think you were being kind of manipulative because I said I love you and you didn't say anything. And then you said, let's have sex instead of talking. And then they get in a big fight. And Robin storms off. And she, again, is just like, oh, you think because you're a good lay, I'm just going to fall in love with you? And like, this is just a fuck to me,
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are.
At this point, I think Cade is like, I've told you I don't like to share. So if you like sleep with someone else, you'll never be with me that way again.
Yeah.
Which is like maybe like the only kind of redeeming thing that she's said in retaliation to Robin ever.
Well, after one of these fights, Robin did go off and have sex with somebody else. When they were first beginning, it was like the week that she canceled dinner. So I feel like Cade had some kind of historical reference for that. Like, hey, by the way, don't get over this fight by having sex with somebody else or we're through forever.
So Robin, like, you hear like the wheels on the pavement go skirt, and then she leaves. I added that for dramatic effect.
Big sunglasses, hair in the wind of the convertible.
Oh, wait, no, but Robin, before she leaves, she's like, the cleaning lady's coming at 3.
Yeah, be gone by 3. Yes.
Be gone with you.
Because we have to know every single tiny piece of scheduling and food and
but like,
clothing
what time
item.
is it at this point?
Yeah.
Did she already crack those eggs for that omelet?
The answer to that is yes. I do know that that's true. But this is the kind of book that it's like in the middle of the sex scene, the writer will be like, and now it was 4:45 p.m.
So Cade's mad. So she's like, you know what I do when I'm mad? I'm going to go on a run. So she like goes and exercises on the beach. But hey, listener, are you kind of getting bored? Yeah. Are you kind of like... Are you questioning how Robin and Cadence will work this out? You wait. It's coming.
Cade is in a brutal attack that makes no sense. So she's running on the beach and then she sees a handicapped man come over to with a walking stick. And she thinks he's really old and she thinks maybe he needs help because he's coming directly at her. Keep in mind, she's running. So he's hobbling toward her. And then when he gets to her, he looks at her in her face, and he's much younger than she thought. Instead of being 70, he's 40. And he takes the walking stick and just begins...
whacks her with it.
Yeah, beating the shit out of her and yelling things like, I saw you touch her.
You with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and then Cadence is like, that classic, like, and then it all went black.
Yeah, and her last thought was she was so happy Robin wasn't there because he would have attacked her too.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. So Cadence wakes up in the hospital. Sebastian, the brother, is there. Who cares? And Sebastian has kicked Robin out of the hospital room because I feel like the author wanted to make a point about this. So Sebastian has said Robin can't be in the hospital room because that's gay stuff.
Yeah, like basically like Cadence has her eyes closed because she's like coma-ing or whatever, and she like hears like him be like, I don't care how famous she is, nurse lady, she's not coming in this room.
And the nurse is like, but she's so famous. Like, let her in. So Cade wakes up. She finds out that like apparently Robin was being stalked by this guy who like
this is like a well-known fact that we just never knew until now.
We know so much at this point, you guys. Why didn't we know this? This guy was like, I guess, jealous that like Cade was smooching on Robin. I assumed this was going to be a hate crime until Cade woke up and like found it, because I thought he just saw two ladies smooching and his brain short-circuited and he needed to murder one of them.
Death, murder, kill. Yeah, but it should have been.
That would have been on brand for this book, though, because it seemed like everybody was very against ladies kissing the entire book, so that would have made sense. But no, he's a stalker.
Yeah.
He's jealous.
Been into Robin for a while or something. But they caught him. And he's not going to hurt any Robins anymore.
Oh, God, I have such a problem with this. The first thing that they said that I was like, no, was, hey, Cade, just so you know, while you were sleeping, we tested your vagina and also your anus. And based on that, we can tell that you weren't raped because there wasn't trauma to either of those. Guys, I don't know if you ever need to know this fact. I hope not. You never come into any kind of circumstance where you need to know this, but that means nothing. There doesn't need to be trauma to any sexual organs for like that. You can't be like, oh, this isn't ripped, so now we know you were totally okay. No one raped you. That's not a thing. Also, Cade finds out, they're like, turns out he's crazy, so he's going to go directly to a mental institution. No trial. Because we think he's probably too crazy to stand trial. That's not a thing, you guys. A, he's not too crazy to stand trial. You've got to be real crazy. And B, it would take like 2 years to find that out. So I didn't like that part.
Well, I mean, it's like par for the course, right? Like this author just does not care to learn anything about how police stuff works, considering it's like we have a real police situation here. And then we also have this whole freaking television show all about policing and ADAing and stuff. And none of this is all right. I was hoping
that the author was making a point about how unrealistic the TV show was. And then like a real crime thing was going to happen. It was going to be clear like the difference of, you know, how real crime stuff happens. But no, it's not like that at all. Also, he confessed. Why not? Okay, so Robin comes rushing in. So Cade gets rid of Sebastian. It's like Robin can come in, and Robin comes rushing in. And guess what, you guys? Robin forgives Cade, and she loves him now because her life was threatened.
Yeah.
And then like there's 5 more chapters for no kind of reason. Like, Cade goes and stays with Perry at Liz's Malibu beach house. Robin comes over. They have sex. It's fine. It's just like, I don't know why. We have a meeting with her agent about like talking about relationships.
Old Connie. Yeah.
We learn about Merkins.
Oh, yeah.
We do a whole scene where Cade gets brutally attacked for like the TV show.
Yeah, the TV shows, hey, we can't really do without Cade, so what we're going to do is we're going to work in her real-life injuries to this show, because that's kosher.
Yeah. And then Cade goes to one of Robin's family parties, and Robin, like, comes out to everybody there.
Right.
And, again, no one's surprised, except for Trish, the sister.
Right.
And then... I don't know, Robin tells Cade that she's, like, got long-term plans, baby. And, like, she's in it for the
well, I guess we kind of grazed over that at that party, Trish tries to really, like, fuck things up with the sister. And then the mom has to come in and be like, you, Trish, leave everybody alone.
Oh, yeah. Yoda mom is, like, saves the day.
Yeah. And then Trish is like, yeah, I'm sorry. Y'all can be gay. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry you guys could be gay.
Yeah, and then it's like, I see a real future with you, Cadence.
I feel like if this had been a hetero book, this would have been a proposal at the family party, but unfortunately that kind of thing wasn't legal back in '06, so we didn't get a proposal at the end of the book.
Well, then it makes you wonder, so yeah, to be clear, listener, the book is over now. Finally.
It's finally done.
But then I wonder if, like, present day, if these people would still be together. I don't think that they would. I think Cadence would have died by now.
Yeah, I just feel like the only way they can make up is for one of them to have, like, a completely life-threatening injury.
Ooh, or do you think that, like, Cadence could pull, like, a Marlena Evans and, like, get, like, anesthesia? No, not anesthesia. No, you know, where she forgets stuff.
Amnesia. Yeah, that. Yeah,
and then
I think
Robin has to, like, teach her everything all over again.
Mm-hmm. Or, like, Cade could get possessed by the devil. and Robin could exercise her. You guys, we're talking about Days of Our Lives, a show that Liz and I have watched since our infancy.
It's like vintage days here, but like I feel like, can we please write fanfic to like continue these characters' trials and tribulations? I feel like that's what the MIA author would have wanted.
Actually, it just occurred to me, Days of Our Lives fanfic. Why aren't we reading it? Why aren't we writing it? I don't know why.
That's brilliant.
I'm sure there's great Days of Our Lives fanfic out there.
Have you ever read fanfic?
Yeah, a little bit, but only really not to the extent of like, only since I've started the podcast have I read any fanfic, because people have recommended it on the Facebook group, but I was never onto that scene before. I'm
just surprised with like, I don't know how much you like X-Files and stuff. There's, I'm sure, volumes and volumes of X-Files fanfic.
I'm sure. I guess I just was never like tuned into that world, so I never knew about it.
I read, full disclosure, I read fanfic, but it was about Hanson, the band.
Oh my god. I wish you would have had me guess, because I think I would have gotten there if you're like, I read fanfic, guess what it was about.
And there's this one story that was like literally 70 chapters. This was me in like junior high being like,
I feel like you had this whole secret life that none of us knew about.
Yes, it's like the secret life of Liz before, because I was not out in high school. I didn't really even like ever officially come out, I guess.
I was going to say, I feel like you just came out to me on this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, guys, like I'm engaged to a lady, and I told my parents like, oh yeah, by the way, Kate and I are together. And then I let that fester for like a week. My parents were like, yay, we're happy for you, la la la. And then a week later I was like, oh yeah, we're getting married now. Surprise.
Did you tell your parents that you'd been together this whole
I was like
13 years or whatever it's been?
And my mom, very much like Yoda mom from the story, was like, yes, I was just waiting for you to tell me. But we're like not that kind of family that is like huggy feely, like talk about personal lives and stuff. So yeah, you know, it happened.
I feel like
I'm 33.
Most of I feel like most of us were waiting for you to tell us. And then, like, this is classic Liz. Like, this is very on brand. You just, like, refused to and then got married to a lady.
It's just how it happened for me. But here we are.
Actually, I remember the moment where I, like, kind of confronted you on it would have been 2007 or something.
Because Erin went to law school in New Orleans and then would drive up, and I lived in St. Louis at the time, so she would take a pit stop and stay the night with me and Kate at our house. And then I specifically remember, like, after one time, Erin being like, so are you and Kate, like, together? Because she's really nice. Mm-hmm. And it's like...
This wasn't then. This was... No, I was still in college, because I remember where I was, because I was in Peoria, because, remember, I was living with a special friend of yours.
Oh, yeah.
And
hey, special friend, if you listen.
She's not listening. But somebody who Liz had maybe dated a long time ago, but like in secret. And like, so I kind of got wind of it. And so we were on the phone one day and I was like, hey, Liz, you know, I'm living with so-and-so. And like, you know, if you ever needed to tell me that you and Kate were more than just friends. Do you remember this at all?
I guess I don't.
Oh my God.
That's how much it meant to me.
Yeah, really. And so, like, I was, like, had an ulcer, and I was, like, trying to tiptoe around it. I was like, are you and Kate? And you were like, yeah. I remember the intonation perfectly. This is exactly what you said. You went, yeah, I'm gay. And it was shortly after that I visited you guys in St. Louis, and you were like, my bedroom's up here. And it was like...
You can sleep there in my bedroom, because I'll be sleeping in Kate's bedroom.
And your bedroom had like nothing in it. It was like a bed and nothing else, and all your shit was downstairs. And I remember
it was like a sham bedroom for my parents. Right. It was like all the furniture could have been cardboard, you know. Like
it was literally a bed and nothing else, and an empty dresser, and it was like in the attic. And I remember thinking like, does Liz not remember that she already told me that these two are together? Like, she doesn't need to keep up this sham. But clearly you didn't remember.
Shortly after, we were like reconnecting with our other Facebook or high school girlfriends, and it was like, yeah, pretty much anyone that you ever had a doubt that I liked. Yeah, like, it's the truth.
I also remember that when I visited, one of those times that you and Kate were on a diet called the cookie diet, where you just ate cookies.
Yeah, God. Well, they were special cookies. Like they were like protein packed cookies. I don't know. It was like the early 2010s. We didn't know what we were doing.
It was just really funny because he just had this big jar of cookies, and I was like, "You guys want to go out to eat?" And you were like, "Oh no, we just have to eat these cookies."
I won't say that is like all lesbian couples, Erin. That is just me and Kate.
You guys only. Yeah, and from then on, I thought that lesbians only ate special protein cookies.
I just want to dismiss these rumors here and now.
Well, I did from those visits assume that all lesbians have 2 Labradors at all times, and I turned out to be right about that.
It's true. Kate and I have always had a lab and a golden retriever. And now we have 2 golden retrievers. Oh. They're similar enough. Yeah.
I don't know the difference. Sorry. Okay.
No, you're a cat person you're still a cat person to me.
I changed because I became allergic to cats in late high school. I developed a horrible cat allergy, and then
So you killed your parents' cats.
My cats mysteriously died.
Very mysterious.
Very cloak and dagger in the night. My parents whisked my cats away to be euthanized, and I never found out. Oh God, this is going to be 30 minutes on the end of the podcast of us just talking about shit. But
sorry, everyone.
I went away for a summer job, and then I came back. I was gone 2 months, and they were like, "Oh, the cats died," and we're like,
both of them?
Wait, both of them? They both died because they were not the same age, and they were like, "Oh yeah."
Did they kill each other?
Yeah. They're like, they died because they ate that bad Imus food, and I was like, oh, in the span of 2 months, they're like, we had to kill them because they ate that bad Imes food. I feel like this was preemptive.
Premeditated.
Yeah.
Jury's still out, Mr. and Mrs. McCarthy.
It was preventative medicine to kill my cat. They're we thought that they might get sick from the Imes food.
See, this sounds like an SVU episode.
Yeah, they never really liked the cats, so...
Well, their names were too long, or one of them.
Yeah, one of them had a really long name. The other one had a very short name. Yeah, all right. Did you bring a lady love or no?
Yes.
All right, Liz.
Okay, my lady love is actually a suggestion of 2 websites. And perhaps some of you are familiar with these because I live my life by them. One is the Wirecutter, and the other is New York Magazine's The Strategist. And both of these sites are recommendation sites. So if you're looking for, my best example is I wanted a new winter coat to have another layer of sorts to wear. And this strategist suggested this crazy cheap coat on Amazon, a puffer coat that you can get on Amazon. And I got it for $30. It was on crazy sale. And it's this coat now has taken over New York City. You see them everywhere on everyone. And $30, super cute coat, very warm, and all thanks to this website. And then also, so the Strategist does more fashion, what high-waisted pants are really comfortable. We asked 30 fashion editors in the city. But then the Wirecutter is more it's a New York Times company, so it's more I only want to spend $1,000 on a new TV. Which one's the best? And they test all the TVs, and they say this one's the best, and for the following reasons. So now I won't buy anything unless they are specifically endorsed by either of these websites. It's never led me wrong.
Live my life by the Wirecutter. And you guys, in case you're wondering about the great steam mop fight of 2018, the Wirecutter favors my steam mop, the Shark steam mop. But yeah, I live my life by the Wirecutter as well. And also the Sweethome. You know about the Sweethome, right?
Well, I think that
they're the same thing.
Yeah, the Sweethome turned into Wirecutter.
Oh, I thought it was vice versa. I thought Sweethome branched off from Wirecutter, but Wirecutter is for electronics and Sweethome is for like home goods, like towels. What's the best towel?
Yeah.
What's the best faucet? What's the best whatever cutting board?
It's like, and maybe I hope that you all know about it, and you're like, no, duh, like we know, but it's like Yelp for literally anything that you want to buy. It's perfect.
Podcast microphones. That's how I bought my microphone, my mic stand, my everything. Yeah, everything. Lawnmowers.
Everything.
I got my lawnmower because the Wirecutter said that's the best lawnmower, and I trust them.
How about you, Erin?
I would like to make a plug because this is the first time I've recorded since Christmas time, and for Christmas, David bought me the new Kindle Paperwhite. Are you familiar?
Ooh, it's so thin.
It's very thin. It's very like nice to hold. It's got like a nice like feeling rubber back. It's waterproof, so you can take it into the bathtub or the ocean or whatever. This was supposed to be like, we are going to Hawaii. Like now you can have your book on the beach because you can't read your iPad on the beach because it's like the glare and stuff, and Kindles you can.
Right.
I did not lay on the beach once in Hawaii, so that didn't really help. But I'm not like a lay on the beach sort of. We did like kayaking and paddleboarding and stuff. Hiking and that kind of thing. But I'm in love with this device. Like I had to visit a hospital. You guys are going to hear about it eventually. Like Melody and I will record and talk about it, I'm sure. But I was in a hospital for part of this Hawaii vacation. And like I was trying to tell the nurse how great my Kindle Paperwhite is. And my mom interrupted me and was like, she's in like a weird kind of love with this device. Just like ignore her. It was basically like, listen, you don't have to listen to her talk about this anymore. I love this thing. But if you want color, it doesn't have color. So if you're a comic book person, it might not be for you.
Oh, gotcha. Can you like barehand it, like one hand hold it?
Yeah, it's small enough that you can, and it's very light, which it's a lot lighter than my iPad.
Do you have really big hands?
Or
really small hands?
You don't remember the feel of my hands, Liz?
It's been too long.
There have been so many plays and various things where you've held hands. No, I have regular size hands. It's like, okay. This is going to be great for podcasting. Are you ready? This is my iPad mini.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, this is my Kindle Paperwhite. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
definitely want the Kindle.
Yeah. It's just like a little bit smaller, a lot lighter. So if you're reading in bed, your hand doesn't get tired of holding it up there. Kind of thing.
Or like if you want to shove it in your purse or something, it would fit easier, not be so cumbersome.
If you were wearing big cargo pants, it would fit in your pocket.
Perfect. And I wear my cargo pants.
Like that's exactly what I've been looking for. The big side pocket on my cargo shorts.
Or my overalls, because I'm a lesbian.
I think that it would be perfect in that front pocket of an overall.
Let me whip it out. Yeah. Great.
Okay. Thanks for being here, Liz. Really appreciate it. Special insight into this book that Melody and I couldn't give. So, yeah. Thanks for reading a whole romance novel. Are you going to read more?
I've read many more. This was like my gateway drug.
What have you
now
read?
I'm kind of, there's like so many. And most of mine, I'm finding that I have like a specific type where I need like one lady to be really powerful and one to be not. And it's kind of like 50 Shades-esque, where like some powerful rich lady takes up, interest in a stupid like worker bee person. So I'm into that.
I can see you being into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I think I've read like, I don't know, 9 books thus far, and I don't even read. Like I know how to read, but I usually like I'll start books and I'll have like many like halfway through books, but no, like romance books, I've been able to start them and finish them. Now, granted, sometimes like books like this, I'm kind of flipping through like, this person's getting engaged, don't really care, but like I have finished all these like 9 or so books. So
have they mostly been like contemporaries, or have you read any paranormals? Because I feel like you would really like some werewolves and vampires.
I did read one paranormal that was like a lesbian paranormal, but they only had sex once, and I was like, nope, and they got interrupted, and I was like, so we can't. So one person gets off, great, great. Now we have to go take care of the rest of the goddamn werewolves.
Oh my gosh,
Thank you.
You're like a total convert. I'm so happy.
Well,
right, awesome.
you know me. This is how things work. It's like I have to really hate something before I love it.
That's true. And somebody else can't tell you to like it. You have to find it.
Discover it.
Well, there have been several threads in the Facebook group that are like, hey, does anyone know any good female books? So you should get on there and recommend some, because I don't. This is the second one I've ever read, so I don't know a lot to recommend.
Yeah, get at me, ladies.
All right.
Okay. So keep being a badass.
And love yourself as much as you love swiping clitorises. Swiping right on all those clitorises.
All day.
Yep. All right. Bye, Liz.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.